In that loneliness, he had to keep to his own bosom, those are his words, certain deep understandings, which the Lord had vouchsafed to him with the command that he not share. The reason he once said we do not have more of the secrets of the Lord revealed to us is that we reveal them. We tell them to everyone, even our enemies. And then he added, I can keep a secret until doomsday. And so he did. As an emotional and loving man, what kind of a home life did the prophet have? Under the buffetings that relentlessly began with the prophet's announcement of his vision, it is miraculous that he had as much time at home as he did. Poor Emma had by him 11 children. How many of them died at birth? 5, including a pair of twins. And in the ache of her bosom, she moved the prophet to go and bring home a pair of twins whose mother had died in that same week. And Emma raised those children. Of those two, one died under the exposure of the night the prophet was mobbed, you remember, beaten, tarred, and left. And the other, the girl, lived to maturity but never responded to the message of the gospel. Only in one instance did Emma bear a child in a home she could call her own. And that was David Hiram, born after the prophet's death. And as for Emma in general, may I at this point comment that the time has fully come for us to reach out the olive branch. There have been sayings at both ends of the spectrum, Utah and the reorganization, conflict and difficulty over Emma. But the certainty of the record is this simple. Joseph Smith loved her with his whole soul. And the corollary, Emma loved him with her whole soul. And it is impossible to demean the wife of the prophet without sooner or later demeaning him. She was, except for the difficulties that came with plural marriage, not only a remarkable woman, she was just a noble and glorious supporter of all the prophet did, as Mother Smith says in her own personal tribute. And I believe that regardless of our quick tendency to judge this or that in her subsequent life, knowing what she went through, we ought to be kindly and tender in what we say of her. Well, the home life of the prophet included with her prayer 3 times a day, morning, noon, and night. It included her leading the family, and the family was always larger than his own blood relatives. Visitors from hither and yon, some came for a week, and some, like John Bernheisel, for 3 years. She led singing, commanded as the elect lady to pull together the songs, which many of them still are in our hymnal. The prophet Joseph, according to Jesse W. Crosby, helped Emma in all of the domestic chores, in the kitchen, in the laundry, and in the hard work of inning and outing with the wood and the garbage. He was criticized more than once for that, some men thinking that was beneath his dignity. With kindly reproof, the prophet said in so many words, "Go and do thou likewise, brother." It's also recorded that he was neat. That is, that his axe was always carefully sharpened and properly placed after he'd used it. That his wood was always carefully stacked. That his yard was carefully kept. And to his death, he was a farmer who earned much of what he was able to eat by plowing, planting, weeding, and harvesting. We have a glimpse of his sleep from Lauren Farr, who observed even in the Missouri persecution days that under pressure even, Joseph could, and of course he was always under the kind of pressure that leads to the worst fatigue, He could sit down at the base of a tree and almost instantly fall into slumber, but almost as instantly snap back to full alert activity. I believe that has something to do with a clear conscience and the assurance that God is with you. He avoided, but could not wholly avoid, some of the tedious trivia of life. He did not like the clerical functions. He did not like the commandment which came on the very day the church was organized, that a record must be kept day by day, and that in it all of the important events should be recorded. But he did it. He had helpful scribes. He was patient with them and they with him. The prophet turned to his secretary, Howard Corey, and said, "You know, if you were a little heavier, I could have some fun with you." And Corey said, "Well, don't let that bother you, Joseph." And instantly the prophet reached and grappled him and twisted him over and broke his leg. He carried him home, all compassion, put him in bed, called his wife, and then Brother Corey said, "Joseph, when Jacob wrestled with an angel, he received a blessing. I would like a blessing." Joseph gave him a blessing and he was healed remarkably. But now back to Robert B. Thompson. Robert said, "Joseph, you have been so faithful and relentless in this work, you need to relax. Go out, have a spree, relax." But Thompson was a sober man. He said, "I can't do it." Joseph said, "You must do it. If you don't do it, you will die." One of the sorrows of Joseph's life is that Robert B. Thompson had a premature death, and he had to speak at his funeral.